Hi and welcome back to our discussion. So we are already done with our first lesson, the product-oriented competencies. This time we will, and then last time it's the second lesson, which is the task designing. So for today's lesson, we will have the scoring rubrics. So what is actually a rubric? A rubric is an authentic assessment tool which is particularly useful in assessing criteria which are complex and subjective. So scoring rubrics, I'm pretty sure most of you are already familiar with it since you're already in college. So even from your elementaries and up until high school days, you are already experiencing rubrics a lot more, diba? So rubrics are actually an authentic assessment that we teachers use in measuring the students' skills. Like for example, this is an authentic assessment. So we normally use it in like writing an essay, um, when we do dramatization, reporting, demonstration, or other performance assessment. So rubrics can improve student performance as well as monitor it by making teachers' expectations clear and by showing students how to meet these expectations. So it is important that when we use a rubric in measuring the students' performance, um, it should be clear also to the students. So, di pwede na may ginawa kang rubric and then you said to the students that you need to do this one, but you did not actually provide them the rubrics. So they will not know what are the specific tasks that they need to provide, or di nila malalaman kung anong behavior ang hinahanap mo. So it's important that your rubrics are also being shown to the students. Rubrics are said to be an authentic assessment tool. They are most helpful when used to evaluate real-life tasks where students are engaged in solving real-life problems. So they are a formative type of assessment because they are used before, during, and after the learning process. So what's good about the rubrics is that you will be able to use it from the process, from before the product has been created, yung pagbigay mo pa lang ng topic. You will also be able to check the development of the student, because there will be like the process itself and then the product. So yun yung naging kagandahan ng scoring rubrics. So advantages of the use of rubrics. So there are actually advantages in using rubrics. First is make expectations clear. So mas clear yung expectations na gusto mo makuha sa students. So just like what I've mentioned earlier, it is important that they know the rubric, they are able to read it, para they know also what are the expectations, kung ano ang mga behavior na measure, so that they will be able to show or provide that particular behavior. Next is help students judge their own work. So since they are able to know what are actually the specific criteria, specific behavior that you want to measure, so they can also judge it by themselves. So they would know, ay wala na, ay hindi ko pala siya nagawa ng tama, ay kulang ako sa ganito. And then they will also tell themselves, I am able to do it. And this is actually the task that I can say I am perfect. So yung mga ganon na judgment from the student. And then next is reduce time spent evaluating. So it's actually helpful for a teacher. It would really reduce our time in evaluating the student's performance. Kasi i-check mo lang o kaya ilalagay mo doon kung anong behavior yun na, anong expected numbers doon. Like for example, we normally use 1 to 5. So 5 ba siya, 4 ba siya, 3 ba siya, 2 ba siya, or 1 lang yung nabigay. You can just rate. And then next is easy to use and explain. So of course, it's really easier to use, and you can also explain it, explain it easier to your student. Next is make scoring fair and consistent. So fair siya in the sense na hindi kasi sila iba-iba. So they are actually using the same rubric. So you could say, or the student will be able to say na this is not biased. Diba? Kasi may criteria ka namang fina-follow. So there are actually like two types of rubrics. First type is the holistic rubric. So what is an holistic rubrics? Holistic rubrics asks the evaluator to make a single judgment about the object or behavior being evaluated. So if you are using a 4-point holistic rubric to evaluate students' oral presentations, you indicate whether the presentation is a 1, 2, 3, or 4, based on the level at which it meets the described criteria. So this is actually a quick way to provide an overall evaluation of the presentation. So a holistic rubric, these are normally used if yung teacher is gumagawa ng performance task na mabilisan. Kasi it would actually judge the overall performance of that particular task. Hindi siya yung iba't ibang criteria or iba't ibang levels na gusto mong makuha. So it's just like a typical whole evaluation of the performance. So this is an example for that, and later I will provide you the example. So the second one is analytic rubrics. So what is actually analytic rubrics? These are used to assess multiple outcomes simultaneously or for multidimensional outcomes, and each dimension needs to be rated separately. So it resulting in multiple judgments about an object or performance. So in analytic rubrics, ito yung sinasabi ko kanina na medyo critical siya. Why? Kasi marami siyang outcomes na i-measure. So hindi lang siya isa. Yung kanina overall performance yung error rate mo. Like for example, good ba siya? Like very good, good, very good. What are the other things ba na ginagamit? Yung mga ganun. Well, this one, it actually has specific targets. Like for example, in essay writing, nakalagay na doon yung grammar, content, organization, yung mga ganun na criteria. So, hindi talaga siya yung overall performance, but specific performance in each criteria. So this are the steps in writing rubrics. So like for example, set the scale. Select a learning outcome from your academic program. Use your professional judgment to assess student learning on a scale like 1 to 3, 1 to 4, 1 to 5, or 1 to 10. That is appropriate for evaluating the performance. So ito yung mga steps on how to create a rubric. So first is dapat may scale ka. Like 1 to 5, 1 to 3, 1 to 4, or 1 to 10. And then each of the scales should be defined. So next step is define the rating. So add appropriate descriptors to each number. So like for example, on the number 1, you will just put beginning or beginner, 2 basic, 3 proficient, 4 advanced. So yung ganon. And then next is identify basic description. So add simple description for each number in the scale. So like for example, advanced ability 2, proficient ability 2, basic ability 2, no ability 2. So yun yung description ng each scale na inilagay mo. So this particular example or steps that I am providing you is a sample of a holistic rubric. So the descriptions of what performance will look like at each level. So ito na yung like for example, yung ilalagay mo na yung mga descriptions na samples yan. Like for example, this one. For number 1 is the student is unable to yung this like for example, description of desired performance, yung ability to unable to give an organized content, yung mga ganon. So meron na siyang description, and it would be like a match tawag dito, yung mas madali mo na talagang malalaman kung ano yung measure niya. I think I have an example naman dito. Bakit parang wala siya? Hindi ko pala siya nalagay dito. So, yeah. I was not able to provide an example pala this one. But I remember that when we discussed this on our virtual meeting, I provided you some examples, right? On what is holistic and analytic rubrics. So probably I will just find examples and then we will do it on a video probably, okay? So again, thank you so much for watching this video and thank you so much for learning with me. Again, this is your teacher Irish. Have a great day.